have a question for those who are racist. Why do you hate us so much? Today is May 28th. It is a Thursday. I am going to rant because I woke up this morning hearing about what happened with George Floyd, and it really boiled my blood, and it made me so mad. And I just want to talk about like how I'm feeling about this whole situation, just because like I feel like if I don't like talk this out, like I'm going to explode, because I'm just so angry, and there's just like so many emotions like going through my head, just going all around. Before I continue, I just want to say that I don't hate white people and I don't hate any race. When I talk about white people in this video, I'm talking about racist white people. Those are the white people that I am addressing. I know 100% not every single white person is racist, and like white person are not the only people who are racist. Anybody can be racist, but I am talking specifically right now about white people who are racist, and white people who are racist who have the law by their side, who have power, who are given power, and they take advantage of their power, and they use their power for their own personal gain, for their own personal win. Racist white people. That's what I'm talking about, okay? And just racist people in general. I would also like to say, when I talk about cops, I am talking about the bad cops, the racist bad cops, the rotten apples. Because of those rotten apples, they ruined the entire batch. The entire batch is bad. Because of those bad cops, they make every cop look bad. I know that like there are some cops out there, they truly want to make this world a better place, and they want to serve and protect the people, the citizens of the United States of America. But there are some cops, they become cops because they just want power. They want to use that power for whatever personal gain, personal goal that they have.
Let's talk things that happen in Minneapolis, cop standpoint, right? I am disgusted with the things that happened in Minneapolis. Period, point blank, things could have went way different. Now let's get deeper, right? As an officer, you are a first responder, right? So if in the midst of you trying to gain compliance, someone is hurt, you have to render aid, right? Another point, other officers, if you're going to be an officer that's going to stand there and not help when things go wrong, come on, like you don't see that? That's the reason I got behind this badge, right? Because I want them officers that's afraid to step up, I want to be the one to step up. If I see wrong happening, wrong is not happening in my presence, right? I'm going to check it.
So I just want to make that clear. I don't hate cops. I don't hate white people. I have a question for those who are racist. Why do you hate us so much? Why do you hate us so much that you will go out of your way to F up our lives? And by our lives, I mean black people. You go out of your way to ruin our lives, to take away our lives. For what? What? Why do you hate us so much? Like, why? I don't understand. If anything, it should be the black people and all of the minorities that you have taken advantage of, disrespected, raped, killed. You colonized all of us and then made us your slaves, treated us like animals. We weren't even counted as a full person with the whole 3/5 compromise. If anything, we, black people and other minorities, we should be more mad at you guys. But instead, you guys don't want to hate us so much that you go out of your way to use the law to F up our lives. What did we do to you? Because last time I checked, we were not the one who colonized and separated families. I don't get it. Like, explain to me why. Because of our skin color, that means that you can just hate on us. Just, you don't know that person, but you already hate that person because of their skin color. How are you gonna hate somebody when you don't even know them? You don't even know who they are, but you hate them because of their skin color. You don't know who they are, but you killed them because of their skin color. A couple of weeks ago, we found out about what happened with Mr. Arbery. What makes me so mad is that the prosecutor assigned to Mr. Arbery's shooting, he was saying that the McMichaels, like they they legally were carrying a gun, and like Georgia has an open carry law. They were within their rights to chase Mr. Arbery under the citizen's arrest statute. So it is legal for someone to chase you and stalk you and harass you under the citizen's arrest statute. But if it was the other way around, if it was a black person chasing a white person because they suspect that, you know, they could be a thief or something like that, the white person would probably call the cops on them and they'll be arrested because they're stalking them. But a white person can do it and it's totally fine. That it doesn't make any sense. And the prosecutor wants to say that Mr. Arbery, he initiated the struggle to take the shotgun from Travis McMichael. What else you want him to do? His life was on the line. He's literally jogging. 3 white men gets out the car. They have a gun in their hand. He's going to try to defend himself. He was unarmed. So when a black person commits self-defense, it's murder, but a white person can do it and it's not murder. It's fine. It's perfectly fine. And then he also suggested that the McMichaels, they had the right to think that he was suspicious, and they only thought he was suspicious because he fit the profile of being black. They said that, oh, that Mr. Arbery, like, he had an aggressive nature and prior convictions, which was shoplifting and a probation violation. He's aggressive in nature. First of all, they didn't even know who he was. How would they know? How would they have known that he had prior convictions? How would they know of his aggressive nature if they didn't even know the man? He just spotted him jogging, thought he was a thief because he was black, and then they just get the car and it was harassing him and it was asking him questions and everything, and then they killed him. So tell me, where between all that time, where did they find out about his past convictions and his aggressive nature? They found that out probably after. They're trying to use his past to justify them killing an innocent man. And even if he was innocent, they had no right to take his life. The prosecutor was saying that, oh, like, he was allowed to use deadly force to protect himself. The man was unarmed, surrounded by 3 white men who had guns. But you need protection? That's your case? Like, yeah, and then he was allowed to use deadly force to protect himself under Georgia's stand your ground law. It's funny how they can use the law to justify them killing people, and it doesn't make any sense. And this is the world, and this is the society that we live in, and that needs to change. It needs to change because that is not right. They're not even arrested or anything until the people demand it. It is so sad how they committed murder and they only get arrested because people demand it. George Floyd, he had committed forgery, and they called the cops on him, and it resulted in 4 cops against 1 man. And let me just be clear, all the cops were not whites, because I watched the video. One of them was Asian. I don't know which race, what exactly, but one of them was Asian. I know the one who had his knee on the back of his neck, he was white. They basically killed him in public. It was a public execution. 2020. And we have a public execution. I literally watched that video and I cried. That's not a video that you should watch. That is a real life death scene. These are not actors. This is not a TV show. This is not a movie. This is a real person. Doesn't matter if he committed forgery or not. How he was treated was wrong. He was treated like an animal. He was not treated like a human being. He was treated like an animal. For forgery? You're gonna do all that for forgery? You're gonna kill a man for forgery? Does not make any sense. Forgery. But it's just crazy how the only way in order for these situations to get awareness towards like these bad cops is to film people dying. And what makes me so mad is that those 4 cops were fired. They were fired. They did a public execution, but they got fired. They killed them because they can. It just makes me so mad that they were fired. Fired! They're not charged with murder. They were fired. They were fired. Not charged, but fired. That doesn't do anything. They're basically a free man. Okay, they lost their job. So what? I mean, I don't know who, but like he can still be hired from another police department. He can maybe possibly find another job and still live his life. He's a free man, even though he committed murder in front of a crowd of people. The fact that he had, I don't know what his name is, but the man who had his knee on the back of Mr. Floyd's neck? Really? That's how you treat... He actually, he had many complaints. He has done many wrongful things, yet he still had his badge. He still had a title. He still had his job. I think he's been working in the police department since 2001. Nothing happened to him. And look what happened. He did a public execution. It takes a public execution to fire this man. It didn't take the first time or the second time he effed up or the third time he effed up or the fourth, fifth time he effed up. It took a public execution filmed to get him fired. Not even arrested, fired. It is so sick how people use their badge and they use the law to do evil things and they just get away with it. White privilege exists. Tell me, if it was a black officer who had killed a white citizen, they would already have his jail cell ready for him. They'll have his name on it. The trial will be sped up. It will be quick and easy. But it's a white officer and a black citizen, and he just gets fired. You know, he gets it easy. He gets fired. But tell me, if it was the other way around, if it was a black officer who did that to a white citizen, tell me, would the same thing that happened with this officer, would it apply to the black officer? Think about that. Would he just be fired? He would already be shipped to jail, be sent to prison. I feel so bad for the cops who like actually do want to protect and serve their community, but because of these rotten apples in the batch, like they just ruined the whole idea of cops is just ruined now. Especially if you're black or if you are a minority, if a cop approaches you, it's so sad, but you have to have your camera ready when a cop approaches you, just in case they try to do some slick I'm trying not to curse. I'm trying not to curse, but it's like I'm just so angry right now. It's like curse words are like about to slip out of my mouth. I'm trying to stop myself. Cops are supposed to serve and protect the citizens of the United States of America, not patrol and kill. Some of these cops, apparently they think patrolling and killing is what cops do, not serving and protecting. Police departments are not checking these officers. They're not holding each officer accountable of their actions. They give them multiple chances. They F up many times, but yet they still keep their job, and it takes a video to go viral in order for them to just fire the officer. Not even charge them, just to fire them. I bet if this wasn't filmed, I mean, it happened publicly. So the fact that they did that publicly, imagine what they could possibly do if there was no crowd. They think that they're in the right. This is not a war zone. It's a neighborhood. This is a society. But y'all treating it like it's a war zone. Breonna Taylor, the Louisville Police Department, they got wrong information about like about a drug deal, or like they were trying to like to arrest somebody who was dealing with drugs and stuff like that. They got wrong information, they got the wrong address, they intruded into Breonna Taylor's home and they shot her 8 times. And the boyfriend, they lawfully, legally had a gun, possession of a gun. And you know what would you do if someone just broke into your home? You hear like a whole bunch of ruckus and you see that they have guns, and you legally have a gun, so you use the gun for self-defense, right? Like you're going to use the gun for self-defense. Kenneth Walker, he used his gun for self-defense, yet he was charged, he was arrested and charged for murder of a police officer, but none of those police officers were charged for murdering Breonna Taylor. They killed her, but were not charged. But yet, Kenneth Walker, it was self-defense. but yet he's charged with murder. But if it was the other way around, and actually with the Arbery case, they said that he used his gun out of self-defense. But you see, so a white person can use a gun for self-defense, but when a black person uses a gun for self-defense, we're committing murder. That is the problem with the society, and that needs to be changed now. We need to put new people into office. We need new lawmakers, because apparently these lawmakers, they're making laws for themselves only. They're not making law for the people of the United States of America. They're making laws for themselves, and that needs to change, because this is what is oh my god, America is not perfect. I can definitely say, like, there are some good things about this country. Like, I am a black female. I'm able to go to school. I'm able to go to college. I'm able to get a job. But at the same time, even with some of these positives that I have here, some of these privileges or like rights that I have here in this country, we cannot ignore the negatives. We cannot ignore innocent people dying. And even if they did commit a crime, police officers do not have the right to just go on a killing spree. Those 4 cops, there was no trial, there was nothing. They did everything right there on the streets. They arrested him, they judged him, and they killed him. They played all the roles. It's 2020 and racism is still here. Slavery was abolished. And then Jim Crow's law comes to play. We have the Civil Rights Movement. We have the 13th Amendment. It's 2020. And we're still having these issues. That riot that happened last night, those are things that I read in history books when people were protesting for equal rights. And the same thing happened last night. May 27, 2020. And we're still having the same issues. What kills me even more is that when people were protesting about not wearing masks and opening the government, the majority of the people who were protesting were white people. But the cops stayed calm. They were calm throughout the entire situation. There was no tear gas, no rubber bullets. Like, you know, they like people were up in their face, shouting at them, and they remained calm. They didn't do anything. They didn't use any force. But then when people protest for justice for George Floyd, they come in all geared up. They have their shields, they have tear gas, they have the rubber bullets, everything. But when it comes to white people protesting, or when the majority of people are white and they're protesting, it's peaceful, it's calm. Same thing with the arrest. When they arrested the Michaels, they didn't like push them to the ground and shove their face to the ground. They walked peacefully to the police car. Peacefully. No force whatsoever. But with a black person, y'all just always gotta be aggressive, push them to the ground, all these unnecessary stuff. They're not going anywhere, but yeah, you still doing all these things because you can. And because you hate them, because they're skin. You don't even know the person. But y'all just hate on us. Y'all just hate on us because of our skin color. And it's so sad and so sick. I grew up in Miami, Florida. Miami is very diverse. So I grew up in a diverse city. I grew up in a diverse church. Even when my dad had dropped me off at college, like he even told me, like, make sure to like, don't stay within one group. Make sure to meet other people. Make sure to meet different people and get to know other people. I've always grew up being diverse, like the importance of diversifying yourself and not just staying within one group. And it's just, I don't understand how people can just hate on somebody just because of their race, just because of their skin color, just because of where they're from. Like, I don't get that. Y'all just hate on people because you can, and that has got to go. And it's sad because this shouldn't be normal. It shouldn't be normal for black people and other minorities to be fearing for their life. Things need to change within the police department. Things need to change within our governments, within lawmakers, because even the law is not even for everybody in this country. Even the law can be used to help racist people with their illegal acts. These police departments, they're not taking any accountability. And then I watched an interview. It was one of the interviews, but the police department association group, whatever, they had told the citizens, oh, don't make any assumptions yet. Don't make any assumptions? When you watch that video, you don't have to say words to communicate. Your face and body language is enough to tell people what is on your mind. And when you watch that video, when you watch him kill George Floyd, Everything in his body says that he had an intent to kill him. There's no way you can justify him and his actions in that video. You can't, like, you can't justify it. But they try to justify, they're trying to cover their asses. Stop. Like, there's a point, like, you got caught, you got red-handed. Accept responsibility. They're not accepting any responsibility, and it's pissing me off. That police department made many mistakes because he has committed many other wrongful things in the past, but he still had his job, he still had his badge. And I hate it how racist people use their badge, and they say that they serve and protect when they actually patrol and kill. They use a lot to their advantage. They don't use a lot to help the citizens of the United States of America. They use a lot to help themselves or people of their kind. And that needs to stop. That needs to be cut. Done. It's like, I imagine when I have kids, like, you know, when I have kids in the future, I just imagine, like, if God gives me a son, because black men are the ones who are hunted down and killed the most. And black females, we are the most disrespected group. We have gone through so much. We have been disrespected and defiled in so many ways. It must be scary letting your kids go off into the world and not knowing if they're gonna come back because somebody hates your child because of their skin color. And I imagine myself, like, me having kids in the future, like when I send my kids to school, or like when, you know, they go to the grocery store to buy something, like, I'm gonna have to be fearful every single day, every single night, and just praying that they get back home safely, and that I don't get a phone call that they have been shot and killed for not even doing anything. They got shot and killed because they were black. I have a little brother. I cannot imagine getting a phone call saying that my brother has been shot and killed by a police officer or by a racist person, by anybody, because he was just there, because he's black. He didn't commit a crime or anything. This shouldn't be a normal thing. This should have been resolved years ago. But yet it's still here and it's still prevalent. COVID-19, for some reason, it has fueled racism. Like, ever since the whole quarantine happened, you have the whole racist TikTok trend. And it's like the whole situation, it's like, even though it didn't happen to me, but it can happen to me. I can't do anything about this. I can't hide this. My skin color, how I was born, this is what can get me killed. My skin color. It's not what I did. It's not who I am that gets me killed. It's my skin color. I feel like one reason why black people, especially like black men, why they're always being killed for no reason is because racist white people, they fear us. And because they fear us, they're scared of us, they just kill us. And you see that happens all the time. Like, they assume that the black person is a threat, so they annihilate the threat. Y'all always jump into conclusions. Y'all always think the worst of us. Y'all don't even know us. Y'all don't know our story. Y'all just think that we're bad people. If anything, the threat here, the dangerous people here in society are the racist white people who have power and who get away with doing illegal acts, and they twist the law, they manipulate the law to justify their illegal actions. I saw a video of like the protests before it became a riot, and it brought so much tears into my eyes to see people of all races walking down the street and protesting for justice for Mr. Floyd. Like, I just love seeing people from all races coming together to make change. It warmed my heart to see that people care about these situations and people are trying to make a change. And like, it wasn't just black people protesting. Like, we're not alone. Like, we have our brothers and sisters with us, fighting with us for justice. Because this has happened so many times before. This is not the first time. That is the problem. This is not the first time. It has happened before, many times before. Why? What is going on with the police department? Why are you guys not keeping your officers accountable for their actions? Why are you guys not training them? Why are you guys not looking into these things? I just wonder, like, 10 years from now, like, are things still gonna be the same? I know not all cops are bad. You can't tell if a cop is good or bad. You can't tell their intentions until they do something that, like, once they do, you just can't go back from it. And a lot of these cops, like, they will commit these crimes and they get fired. But guess what? They could possibly get another job. They're still a free man. But the person that they killed, the people's lives that they have destroyed, or even that the people that they wrongly convicted and they put into jail, they ruin their lives forever. They can't get a second chance. Like with the Central Park 5, those 5, I mean, at the time there were 5 boys. Now, because the whole story was shining to light, now they have a spotlight, now they have a platform, they're able to talk about these things. But like at that time, it's like the fact that I forgot her name, but that white woman, their stories didn't even add up to the crime of what happened. But she just wanted to pinpoint the crime onto these 5 boys. They manipulated them, they deprived them of food from seeing their family, they beat them. Just to make up a whole scenario that would fit their story, that would fit whatever they're trying to achieve. For what? Because they can, because they have power. We need to strip the power away from those people who cannot handle the power. They can easily take the law, manipulate it to justify their illegal actions, but they will use everything in their power and use the law to make sure that black people get the worst punishment and that they get the full extent of the law just because that they can. This is why we need to be careful with who we put into office and who we give power. I know everybody has a little bit of bias in them, okay? Like, we tend to like this thing more than another thing. But there's a difference between being biased and being racist and just having hate for a group of people. You don't treat people equally. You can use that power to commit hate crimes and to manipulate the law and to do illegal things and get away with it. That doesn't make any sense. You cannot be racist and be a police officer. You cannot be racist and be a judge, because you are not going to hold the law fairly. They will use the power to justify their illegal actions towards the people that they hate. And you're not going to treat people equally and judge or do whatever, do your job in the correct way. You can't defend people if you hate those people. How are you going to uphold the law if automatically you already hate that person, you already judge that person? This is what's supposed to be the land of the free, equal opportunity. Everything that this country stands for is crumbling. Black people, minorities, like we are still asking for justice. We are still asking for equal rights. It is 2020 and we are still asking for the basics. The Statue of Liberty means nothing. Lady Justice means nothing if there is not true justice in this country. If everybody is not truly free, the law will still work against minorities. It will still work against black people. We can be doing everything by the law and they can still manipulate it to work against us. And they can do an illegal act and manipulate it to justify their illegal acts. Some of y'all don't have any empathy. Y'all just so entitled. We need to actually look into these police departments and make sure that these police officers have good intent. I hope all 4 officers go to jail. It doesn't matter if they have helped him or they didn't. They all stood there. They stood there and watched their co-worker kill a man. And y'all must be thinking, what about the citizens? What about the people that were there and everything? You know what? I bet if people were to have like gone and helped him, it would have started a whole shooting war. More people would have died. I think that is it for my rant. I want my YouTube channel to be all about positivity and just me having fun and just giving advice and tips and everything. But also I can use my platform to express my opinions, to voice my opinions, and I just didn't feel like I was just talking to air. I just wanted to speak out my anger, my frustration, share my opinions on my channel. So people, you can keep your hate comments and all that stuff, your negativity to yourself. I don't need that on my channel. Yeah. Bye guys.